That standoff riddled with gaping holes.
We do want to interrupt that story to take you live to the White House. President Trump is speaking. Let's listen in.
Pleased to welcome many members of Congress and energy industry leaders to the White House. And I want to get them immediately back over there because I know they're going to be voting on lots of different things. So we can't spend too much time talking about drilling in the Arctic, right? But we're opening it up. This is a great day for American workers and families, and today we're unleashing American energy and clearing the way for thousands and thousands of high-paying American energy jobs. Our country is blessed with incredible natural resources, including abundant offshore oil and natural gas reserves. But the federal government has kept 94% of these offshore areas closed for exploration and production.
We do want to interrupt that story.
And when they say closed, they mean closed. This deprives our country of potentially thousands and thousands of jobs and billions of dollars in wealth. I pledged to take action, and today I am keeping that promise. This executive order starts the process of opening offshore areas to job-creating energy exploration. It reverses the previous administration's
the White House. President Trump is speaking. Let's listen in.
Pleased to welcome. So hear that. It reverses the previous administration's Arctic leasing ban and directs Secretary Zinke to allow responsible development of offshore areas that will bring revenue to our Treasury and jobs to our workers. Welcome many members of Congress and energy industry leaders. In addition, Secretary Zinke will be reconsidering burdensome regulations that slow job creation. Finally, this order will enable better scientific study of our offshore resources and research that has blocked everything from happening for far too long. You notice it doesn't get blocked for other nations. It only gets blocked for our nation. The White House, and I want to get them immediately back over there because I know they're going to be voting on the cost of energy, create countless new jobs, and make America more secure and far more energy independent. This action is another historic step toward future development and future with a future, a real future. And I have to say, that's a future with greater prosperity and security for all Americans, which is what we want. So I'm very proud of the people standing behind me. I'm far less proud of the people standing in front of me, the media. But I have to tell you that this is a very important day, and I want to congratulate Wilbur and Ryan and all of the people that have worked so hard to get this put together so quickly. And it's going to lead to a lot of great wealth for our country and a lot of great jobs for our country. So God bless America. Thank you very much. Talking about drilling in the Arctic, right? But we're opening.
How will you listen? Here is what we say in Alaska.
Thank you. We love Alaska.
Can you stay home, sir? Thank you.
It up. It's a great day for American workers and families.
Right here, I think.
All right, that was President Trump signing an executive order rolling back Obama-era regulations that put restrictions on offshore oil drilling. This directs Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke to conduct a review and reconsider burdensome regulations that slow job creation. And this is a step in the right direction, President Trump says, to create jobs and, of course, enable America to become more energy independent. All right, moving on now. Second man is charged in the death of an Illinois judge who was shot and killed outside of his home after he tried to help his girlfriend during a robbery. Earl Wilson is accused of fatally shooting Judge Raymond Miles earlier this month. Officials believe Wilson and another suspect, Joshua Smith, targeted the judge's girlfriend to rob. When Miles came out to help her, the men allegedly shot him multiple times and fled the scene. Wilson and Smith are both facing first-degree murder charges. Miles' girlfriend was also shot but survived the attack. Well, a state representative in Georgia is helping distribute cannabis oil to hundreds of sick people. They have no legal way of obtaining the drug despite possession being legal. Ezra Kaplan has more on the underground marijuana network helping patients get medicine.
Our country is blessed with incredible
Georgia's
natural
medical
resources.
marijuana program comes with a big caveat.
Yes, while we have a law that allows you to legally possess it, we don't have a law that gives you the ability to be able to access it.
Frustrated by the limitations, Republican lawmaker Alan Peake, who championed the state's legalization of medical cannabis in 2015, took matters into his own hands.
We now have, for all practical purposes, a distribution network,
including
where
abundant
we will
offshore oil and
funnel
natural
this
gas
product to families who are properly registered with the state and have the legal right to possess up to 20 ounces. This product.
Zero. Peake foots the bill at a price tag of about $100,000 per year, allowing him to stay just inside the law since it's illegal to buy or sell cannabis oil in Georgia. To avoid felony drug trafficking charges, he doesn't know any of the shipping details. A package shows up about once a month at his office, where he runs one of the largest franchise restaurant businesses
but the federal
in the country.
government has kept
Peake then
90%
works with a network of registered card-holding patients and parents to move the product to various cities across Georgia.
It may mean meeting at a gas station on 285 or, coming to somebody's workplace or at home. I mean, you do what you have to do to meet up with somebody to get them the medicine that they need.
Shannon Cloud's daughter, Elena, is one of the patients helped by Peake.
She's 11 years old. She has Dravet syndrome, and she has seizures, which started when she was 4 months old. And after trying many medications, we heard about cannabis and decided we wanted to give it a shot and see if it might help her.
Cloud and her husband work with Peake to help deliver the cannabis oil to patients in Atlanta. They're grateful for his generosity, but angry that families are forced to go to great lengths to help loved ones.
It shouldn't be this way. You shouldn't be meeting at a gas station or a Target parking lot to get medicine to somebody. You should be going to the place where it's produced and tested to get it dispensed to you in a regulated manner.
It's a battle Peake continues to fight.
All we want to do is provide medicine to a family who can benefit from it and see the quality of their life changed every single day.
Next up, he wants to make it legal to grow and process in Georgia.
Florida lawmakers are gearing up to pass a bill that would ban sanctuary city policies statewide. The bill was debated on the state's House floor Thursday. It's intended to force local officials to follow federal directives when it comes to dealing with illegal immigrants in the state. The bill would allow the state to withhold funds from cities that are considered soft on illegal immigrants. The measure comes just days after a judge stopped a push to cut off federal money going to California. California lawmakers recently passed a law that would forbid state and local police from using resources to report or arrest people based on their immigration status. Well, the governor of Kansas is proposing an additional $24 million in spending in order to continue banning concealed hospitals. Governor Sam Brownback unveiled the proposal Thursday. Among other budget measures, a law passed in 2013 will allow people to bring concealed guns into hospitals for the mentally ill and disabled starting in July if the buildings don't provide extra security. The proposal includes hiring nearly 200 employees and more than $800,000 for metal detectors. But some lawmakers argue the law should remain unchanged to allow gun owners to protect themselves. Connecticut police arrest a man after discovering hundreds of pounds of explosives in his home. One America's Gabriela Garcia has more on what led to the discovery.
Connecticut police are investigating and trying to safely handle a massive amount of explosives found inside a New Haven home. Police were called to the home Wednesday night for a domestic dispute when they noticed large amounts of explosive-making materials. But it wasn't until Thursday when officials received a search warrant to enter the house. Authorities say several hundred pounds of black powder were found all over the home, enough to potentially blow up the entire block.
Every room in this home, every bedroom, the kitchen, the living room, everything is just covered in explosive materials and manufacturing materials.
49-year-old Pascal Crisco was arrested after the discovery and is facing several charges, including illegal manufacturing of explosives and bombs. Authorities say the materials found are similar to the ones used in the Boston Marathon bombings.
We're dealing with commercial-grade explosives, but as you know, that pressure cooker device used in Boston, or those devices, were manufactured likely similarly in a.
Officials say illegal fireworks were being made in the home and are investigating the incident. Gabriela Garcia, One American News.
And still to come on, Sweden is still in mourning. Another person dies following the attack on Stockholm. We bring you the latest as the investigation continues.
This executive
and
order
Germany approves a draft law banning women in select professions from wearing full-face Islamic veils. Latest, the country put a ban on the burqa up next.
With respect to skills-based immigration, remains convinced that immigration supports a national interest in helping U.S. businesses in the global economy. This national interest must be balanced by an equally compelling national interest in developing an American workforce with skills to compete. I am not arguing U.S. workers with the education and skills that our universities provide
offshore areas
need
to
no
job
protection
creating
from foreign competition, a level
exploration.
playing field.
It reverses
What the Commission is concerned about are the unskilled workers in our society in an age in which unskilled workers have far too few opportunities open to them, and to which welfare reform will require thousands to find more jobs. And the Commission sees no justification to the continued entry of unskilled foreign workers unless the rationale for their admission otherwise serves a significant national interest, as does the admission of nuclear family members and refugees.
This is not just any cruise. This is MSC Cruises, one of the largest cruise lines in the world, where every detail is beyond just ordinary. You won't see just one performance. You'll see a different show every night.
So hear that.
And you won't be served just any meal. You'll enjoy freshly prepared international cuisine. Because this is not just any cruise. This is an MSC cruise.
Welcome back. Right-wing French candidate Marine Le Pen took her presidential campaign to a part of the country where she's likely to do well. Le Pen was in Nice, where she went after her rival, that is Emmanuel Macron, as a puppet of French oligarchs. Recent polls show Le Pen closing in on Macron's lead after coming in second in the last election earlier this month. The runoff election is set for May 7th. Now, she told a crowd of 4,000 that security was her biggest priority. Le Pen says immigration would be the second most important issue for her future administration. In the meantime, a woman is shot by police and 6 people are in custody after an anti-terror operation in London and Kent. Reports say the woman in her 20s was shot during the raid Thursday night and is in serious but stable condition. Officials said the suspects were arrested on suspicion of terror offenses and have been under observation as part of an ongoing intelligence-led operation. They added the operation was not connected to the earlier arrest of a man near Parliament. Authorities are also reportedly searching other areas across London. In the meantime, Sweden is still feeling the pain from the attack in Stockholm earlier this month, as a 5th person has died. Officials say a woman in her 60s died from her injuries at the hospital this morning. This comes just weeks after a truck sped down a busy pedestrian walkway in central Stockholm, crashing into a department store. Police arrested the driver following the attack, which also left several people injured. Suspect is believed to be an ISIS recruit, but the terror group did not claim responsibility for the attack. An investigation is ongoing. Well, after the Chancellor of Germany says a full burqa is not suitable in her country, lawmakers implement a partial ban. Here's more on the new restrictions as lawmakers explain the state has a duty to present itself in an ideologically and religiously neutral manner.
Treasury and jobs.
German MPs have approved a partial ban on the burqa. The draft law stipulates that public servants will be forbidden from wearing the full-face veil while at work. The move comes after Chancellor Angela Merkel called for a ban on the burqa wherever legally possible. In February, the southern state of Bavaria, ruled by the Christian Social Union, the sister party to Merkel's Conservatives, said it would ban the veil in schools, universities, government buildings and polling stations. Merkel is facing elections in the autumn and has lost support to the anti-immigrant Alternative for Germany over the migrant crisis.
And energy industry leaders.
Well, Australia is enforcing new restrictions on the exporting of fuel by major gas producers. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull says the actions will shore up domestic supplies of liquid natural gas. A growing energy crisis in that country is causing blackouts and increases in the price of power. 2 years, Australia is expected to become the #1 producer of liquid natural gas in the world. Booming export of natural gas is causing a shortage for the country. Meantime, Iran Air is abandoning plans to get new Boeing 777 aircraft earlier than planned. Officials say the jetliner was not ready as they first thought, so that's why the sale was canceled. Iran was supposed to get the first of the 80 aircraft from Boeing next spring, but industry analysts speculated the sale was canceled because Iran Air was in financial trouble. This all comes after Boeing recently signed a $16.5 billion deal with Iran Air. Still ahead this hour on One America News, to celebrate his 100th day in office, President Trump holds a campaign-style rally where he'll be speaking to thousands of supporters. Plus, Clinton's longtime loyal aide, Huma Abedin, is also under federal investigation. Details of a family secret and the accusations against them up next.
The Vietnam...
Not easy. Moving your wife's 17th century
creation
stemware collection
Finally,
is
this order will
rarely
enable
easy.
better...
Moving Mr. Smooches is never easy. Fortunately, moving your favorite entertainment with DirecTV is always easy. Just one call before you move is all it takes. Done. The DirecTV Movers deal. Easy now comes with bundles and equipment upgrades too. Call and ask about all the benefits today.
We, the device-loving people, want more than just unlimited data. We want unlimited entertainment. So we can
study of our offshore resources and research that has...
Watch unlimited romance, if you're into that. But we also want more, like unlimited HBO. Can I stop dying now, Mark?
No can do, mi amigo. It's unlimited.
Besides, you're really good at it, James.
Don't settle for any unlimited data plan. Only the AT&T Unlimited Plus plan comes with HBO included at no extra charge.
They have all chosen to risk their lives, but they are fantastically brave.
Everything from happening from far.
The white helmets.
The white helmets.
They purport to be rescuing civilians in eastern Aleppo and Idlib, yet no one in eastern Aleppo has heard of them. The white helmets purport to be neutral, yet they can be found carrying guns and standing on the dead bodies of Syrian soldiers.
Too long. You notice it doesn't get blocked for other nations.
Kindness. Thank you.
Pass it on.
Welcome back to the program this hour. I'm Jennifer Franco. President Trump comments on rising tensions with North Korea, labeling the country as biggest international worry and a major global threat. This comes as Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is chairing a special meeting at the UN Security Council today in an attempt to ramp up sanctions against the country. One America's Chris Pocock has more.
President Trump speaks broadly on the conflict with North Korea in an interview with Reuters published Thursday. Trump said a major conflict is possible between the U.S. and the isolated nation, adding he would love to solve things diplomatically, though it would be difficult. The commander-in-chief also remarked on China's role in the conflict, praising the country's president for trying to rein in North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, though he also said it's possible President Xi Jinping can't act in the Korean peninsula.
I've established a very good personal relationship with President Xi. And I really feel that he is doing everything in his power to help us with a big situation. So I wouldn't want to be causing difficulty right now for him. He's a friend of mine. He's actually I think he's doing, an amazing job as a leader.
However, President Trump was more critical of another ally in the conflict, South Korea. The president called on the country to pay for the THAAD missile defense system being placed along its border with North Korea, a deployment with a hefty price tag of $1 billion.
So, I informed South Korea that it would be appropriate if they paid. Nobody's going to do that. Why are we paying $1 billion? It's a $1 billion system. It's phenomenal. It's the most incredible equipment you've ever seen. It shoots missiles right out of the sky. And it protects them, and I want to protect them. We're going to protect them. But they should pay for that, and they understand that.
However, the Defense Ministry responded, saying they will not change their position that the U.S. bears the cost of the system. The Reuters interview was published just hours after North Korea released a propaganda video showing the destruction of the U.S. Capitol building, as well as an unnamed aircraft carrier. Earlier this week, President Trump met with nearly all of the U.S. senators to discuss the administration's strategy. Following that meeting, it was revealed the White House is considering labeling North Korea a state sponsor of terrorism, a title it previously held until 2008. Chris Pocock, One America News.
Well, this comes as a new poll shows nearly 4 in 10 Americans believe North Korea is an immediate threat to the United States. Survey comes just as President Trump said a major conflict was possible with the communist nation. In an interview Thursday, the president explained that he would prefer to solve the standoff over North Korea's nuclear missile program with diplomacy. The issue of Pyongyang's weapons program has taken up a large amount of President Trump's time. Earlier this week, his national security team held a rare briefing with the entire Senate at the White House. Russian and Japanese officials, meantime, are also speaking out after their talks on North Korea. Here's more on their approach to dealing with the communist country.
The Russian-Japanese talks thousands of kilometers from the Korean peninsula were part of a wider diplomatic effort to rein in Pyongyang. The U.S. said its policy was to exert maximum pressure through sanctions and diplomatic activity. Accompanying the Japanese Prime Minister in Moscow were officials from Tokyo's foreign ministry.
The situation concerning North Korea is very worrying. Worrying for us, worrying for Russia, for the international community. The two leaders discussed the point very frankly, and so Prime Minister Abe asked Prime Minister Putin to play a constructive role to try to apply more pressure, which is necessary for North Korea.
Someone who's used to periodic spikes of tension over North Korea is the former Russian ambassador to South Korea, Gleb Ivashchentsov. He's previously described the path to peace in the region as tortuous.
Our goal, we're trying to persuade our partners in the USA, Japan, and India that if we talk, we should really talk instead of yelling at Pyongyang from loudspeakers at the border and keeping aircraft carriers next to their shores. Because there could be a computer system failure. Where will it happen? In North Korea or the USA or Japan? At this moment, it's very hard to give any guarantees.
Over in our nation's capital, a stopgap spending bill is headed to the Senate after the House voted today to approve the short-term extension and avoid a government shutdown. The bill introduced on Wednesday will keep the government open until May 5th, giving lawmakers more time to reach long-term budget agreements. If it passes in the Senate, it'll head over to President Trump's desk to be signed into law. Thursday, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said the measure is expected to pass in both chambers before tonight's midnight deadline. Also, House GOP leaders agreed not to move forward with plans to repeal Obamacare this week. Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy confirmed there would not be a vote before the president's 100th day in office. He explained top officials are still educating members on the revised health care bill, but some are hopeful a vote could still happen next week. McCarthy added leaders had discussed a short-term stopgap funding bill to avoid a government shutdown. House is expected to pass a one-week continuing resolution today to give negotiators more time and to pass a funding bill for the rest of 2017. President Trump plans to celebrate his 100th day in office by doing what he does best, holding a campaign-style rally in front of thousands of supporters. The president will travel to Pennsylvania Saturday, a critical swing state that he won during last November's election. He's expected to tout the accomplishments he's made since being sworn in while encouraging support for an Obamacare repeal and border wall funding. It's the latest in a series of campaign-style rallies he's held since taking office. In the meantime, an appeals court is granting the Trump administration's request to put litigation by states challenging an Obama-era rule on mercury and power plant pollution on hold. Oral arguments were supposed to begin May 18th, but the hold gives the EPA time to review the MATS rule. Now, the MATS rule has been in place for years now, with public utilities agreeing to upgrade or shut down older coal-burning power plants. Current EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt sued the Obama administration back when he was Oklahoma's Attorney General. He and 15 other state prosecutors tried to block the MATS rule, saying that it was too costly, forcing many coal-burning plants to shut down. In the meantime, President Trump rejects the push to help solve Puerto Rico's debt crisis. One America's Alex Zuccaro has more on how this could affect the government spending bill.
Negotiators are still trying to narrow a few unresolved issues in the government spending bill, including funding for Puerto Rico's Medicaid program. In a Thursday news conference, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi said that Puerto Rico remained one of the several outstanding areas of concern in the bill. Democrats say since nearly half of the island's inhabitants relies on Medicaid, it's important to increase funding for the program so no one else loses their coverage. However, President Trump opposed this proposal in a tweet, saying that Democrats want to shut down the government if we don't bail out Puerto Rico and give billions to their insurance companies for Obamacare failure. During his campaign, Trump had a firm stance against a Puerto Rico bailout and believed the territory had accumulated too much debt for the U.S. to step in.
Puerto Rico has too much debt, so you can't just restructure. You have to use the laws. You have to cut the debt way down and get back to business because they can't survive with the kind of debt they have.
Many Republicans also believed a bailout would be a costly expense for taxpayers and wouldn't benefit Puerto Rico's economic crisis. In another tweet, the president said, Democrats are trying to bail out insurance companies from disastrous Obamacare and Puerto Rico with your tax dollars. He even called the move sad. Puerto Rico expects to spend over $6 billion worth of supplemental Medicaid funding by December 2017 and will face an additional $850 million in health care spending if Congress doesn't step in. In total, the island faces more than $70 billion in debt. Alex Zuccaro, One America News.
Well, contrary to widespread reports, federal prosecutors issued grand jury subpoenas in connection with the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server. In a court filing this week, an FBI official indicated that investigators used subpoenas to try to obtain archived copies of Clinton's old email messages. Filing didn't make it clear how extensive the use of the grand jury was in connection with the Clinton probe involved at all. But government statements sought to establish that officials can't do much more in this point to further the investigation. And Huma Abedin, Hillary Clinton's longtime confidant, is being accused of giving family members access to the State Department's private businesses. One America's Yuri Huang reports.
A trail of emails leads to a family secret, one that could implicate Huma Abedin in a federal investigation. Records from the Justice Department shows two of Abedin's cousins asked her for funding for their startup in 2009, specifically asking to engage with the Obama administration. The DOJ is in the process of prosecuting Omar Amanat and Irfan Amanat for conspiracy, wire fraud, and securities fraud. Their firm Kit Digital allegedly received more than $1.2 million in federal grants between the years 2009 and 2012. The company declared bankruptcy in 2013, and Omar is accused of diverting millions of dollars from investors for his personal use. Both men were arrested last year, and Omar is under house arrest. Yuri Huang, One America News.
A Justice Department probe into Fox News and settlement payments connected to sexual harassment cases is expanding. Crime investigators for the U.S. Postal Service are now involved. Postal Inspection Service looks into mail and wire fraud cases. The investigations unit would not comment on why it joined the probe. Back in February, the probe focused on settlement agreements made with women who said former Fox CEO Roger Ailes harassed them. Question now facing federal prosecutors is if Fox had a duty to inform shareholders about the settlement payments. Switching gears now, a 23-year-old Syrian native is in police custody in Germany this morning. Suspect, who was not named because of security reasons, was arrested on suspicion of fighting for ISIS in Syria. Prosecutors won't say when that suspect entered the country, but reports say the man is believed to have joined ISIS 4 years ago. An investigation into his ties to the terror group is now underway. Iraqi forces are going house to house in the latest battle for Mosul. U.S.-backed offensive to take control of the Islamic State's de facto capital is in its 7th month. ISIS fighters using booby traps, snipers, and mortar fire, making it tough for government forces to push them out. An estimated 400,000 civilians are stuck in the fighting rages on. In the meantime, there are reports that foreign jihadis, many of them from Europe, are committing some of the worst atrocities against civilians. Region. Still ahead this hour on One America News. Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. That's right. We will take you inside a new museum in California that showcases
This is not just any cruise. This is MSC Cruises, one of the largest cruise lines in the world, where every detail is beyond just ordinary. You won't see just one performance. You'll see a different show every night. And you won't be served just any meal. You'll enjoy freshly prepared international cuisine. Because this is not just any cruise. This is an MSC cruise.
Quality programming. Tune in to AWE, a wealth of entertainment.
Welcome back. Well, buying online is often cheaper because you don't have to pay sales tax, but that could soon come to an end. Congress is about to take on bills that would make it easier for states to collect sales tax. Back in 1992, the Supreme Court ruled states were allowed to require online retailers to collect sales tax if they had a brick and mortar store in the state as well. Similar 2013 Senate bill passed but died when it made its way to the House. Supporters of an online sales tax say that it will help states and cities bring in much needed revenue. Well, cyber criminals, they're directing their attention to large manufacturing companies, government agencies, as well as universities. That is the latest from the annual Verizon report on data breaches around the world. Of the 2,000 breaches reported, 300 were espionage related. Verizon's study found that there has been a 50% uptick ransomware attacks. Now, ransomware is a computer malware used by criminals to hold a computer's information that is hostage until the victim pays a ransom for access. The report goes on to say that stronger password protection would prevent most cyber attacks. Well, after a string of violent crimes shown live on social media, companies around the world, they're racing to improve software that can automatically spot and then block undesirable videos. Here's more on the efforts to stop social media violence.
Grisly murders on Facebook Live. On Tuesday, in a deserted hotel in Thailand, a self-shot video of a father killing his 11-month-old daughter by hanging her with a rope from a rooftop. The content lingered on the site for 24 hours. Barely 2 weeks ago in Cleveland, a man bragging live about murdering a 74-year-old before posting the video of the killing itself online. These are just the latest in a string of violent crimes appearing on the social media site. Now, competing to solve the policing problem, tech firms from Singapore to Finland racing to improve artificial intelligence so it can automatically spot and block content before it goes viral.
So it will detect there is a person, it will detect there is a baby, it will detect the activities that the person is involved with the baby, it will detect the emotion of the person, it will detect any the screaming sound of the baby.
Graymatics is an artificial intelligence company in Singapore using...
With Roundup Precision Gel, you can finally banish garden weeds without harming precious plants nearby. So draw the line. Just give the stick one click, touch the leaves, and the gel stays put, killing garden weeds to the root with pinpoint precision. Draw the line with Roundup Precision Gel. And be sure to check out Roundup with Sure Shot Wand, another good for the garden product from Roundup.
Closed captioning brought to you by non-prescription IB-Guard for irritable bowel syndrome.
For years, I suffered from abdominal pain and bloating. My doctor recommended IB-Guard. Now, I'm in control of my IBS. Non-prescription IB-Guard calms the angry gut.
Once there was a little pig that had built his house out of straw. One day, a big bad wolf puffed and blew the house down. Luckily, the Geico Insurance Agency had helped the pig with homeowner's insurance. He had replacement cost coverage, so his house was rebuilt good as new. The big bad wolf now has a job on a wind farm. Call Geico and see how easy it is to switch and save on homeowner's insurance.
CNN Heroes, Everyday People Changing the World, is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on credit. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
At 14, this week's CNN hero was living alone on the streets. After struggling for years, she was able to create a stable life and dedicated herself to helping other vulnerable youth in Israel, providing them not only safety, but something more, family.
To be homeless in a young age, it's very lonely. When you don't have your family, you will always have this black hole. I know exactly what they're going through. I want children to breathe. I want them to feel alive. I want them to feel secure. I want them to feel that they can be hugged and they will not be in danger. We can see it in a different way and win life.
To see more of her story, go to cnnheroes.com, and while you're there, you can nominate someone you think should join the ranks of 2017 CNN Hero. So from that to this, the president hitting the road today, heading to Atlanta to address the National Rifle Association's annual gathering. It's the first time a sitting president has spoken to President Reagan back in 1983. And in case you were wondering, Secret Service has made it clear no guns are allowed in the convention hall while the president is there. White House correspondent Athena Jones is also there. Athena, what are we expecting to hear from the president today?
Hi, Kate. Well, I expect we'll hear him talk about the importance of protecting gun rights. This is something that he ran on. He often brought up the idea that he would be a more pro-Second Amendment candidate or president than his rival, Hillary Clinton. We could also hear him talk about steps his administration has already taken to expand gun rights, rolling back Obama-era regulations, such as one that made it harder for people with certain mental illnesses to buy guns, and also an Obama-era ban on the use of lead ammunition on federal land, so in federal parks and the like. We know this is a very pro-Trump crowd. I'm told the 10,000 tickets for this event were sold out. We know the NRA endorsed candidate Trump early on and spent millions and millions to help him get elected, especially in states like Pennsylvania and Ohio. In an op-ed in USA Today, Chris Cox, who is the executive director of the NRA's Institute for Legislative Action, praised President Trump and mentioned that he ran as the strongest Second Amendment candidate in history. And I spoke with an NRA spokesperson here who said that the first 100 days have been the most successful most successful first 100 days for the Second Amendment ever. In talking to folks here, they are also singing Trump's praises. I spoke with one gentleman from New York who was especially happy that he appointed Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court. He believes that will protect gun rights. Kate?
One of his big victories in this first 100 days, Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court. Athena, thank you so much. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
Hi, I'm Steve Perillo of Perillo Tours, and for years, you've heard me talk about my family and our amazing Italy vacations. Well, now let's hear from our extended Perillo family. George, how was it for you?
It was great. It was effortless. Perillo made things easy, informative, impossible not to have a good time.
And how was your trip?
I met amazing people on this trip, and we all stay in touch.
I really enjoyed Sorrento because of the hotel that we stayed in. Everything was taken care of. I got off the plane. They took care of my luggage. They sent me to these amazing rooms.
I wanted to see everything. I love Naples. I love Rome, Venice, Capri.
The Leaning Tower of Pisa.
The Vatican is a lot larger than it looks like on television.
Thanks for joining us in Italy Perillo style. Salute!
Popping and North Korea.
There's a chance that we could end up having a major conflict with North Korea. Absolutely.
Some new economic numbers out today, and there is no Trump bump. Wall Street, yes, is doing well, but the overall U.S. economy barely grew in the first 3 months of 2017. So what's your verdict at 100 days? Well, for starters, not just the president getting mediocre grades. Remember, he has a 44% approval rating as we get to 100 days. Look at this for the House Speaker, Paul Ryan. 38% of Americans have a favorable view of the House Speaker. That's down from 46% in January. I'm guessing the Obamacare repeal debacle has something to do with that slip. What about the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell? Well, he's at 27%. Normally, you wouldn't brag about that, but he's up from 20% in January. Republicans are driving that increase, if you want to call it that. Republicans got the president's Supreme Court nominee confirmed here. Now, what else is happening in this thing right now? Another stunning number, if you want to take a look here. The American people, back in January, 50% thought President Trump would get the repeal and replace vote through the Congress for Obamacare. Now, I guess you've been paying attention, only 20%. This week, he's not going to get it still. He says, while 100 days is a false standard, he's doing great.
Mr. President, day 99, what's made this job harder than you thought?
I don't know, we're moving awfully well. We're getting a lot of things done. I don't think there's ever been anything like this. It's a false standard, 100 days, but I have to tell you, I don't think anybody has done what we've been able to do in 100 days, so we're very happy.
That's the president's take. Very happy with us to share their reporting and their insights. Jackie Kucinich of the Daily Beast, CNN's Nia Malika Henderson, The Atlantic's Molly Ball, and Mary Catherine Ham of The Federalist. The president wanted three big things in this final sprint to 100 days. a House vote to repeal Obamacare, a big down payment on his border wall, and a deal to fund the government and avoid a shutdown. He won't get that Obamacare vote. Republicans still feuding over a plan. And he won't get the wall money. The president blames Democrats for that, but a good number of Republicans also are opposed. The government, though, apparently will not be shut down at midnight as day 99 gives way to day 100. CNN's Manu Raju live on Capitol Hill with the latest. As always, Manu, up to the deadline.